10 things I love about the red Komodo. Number 1, hot swappable batteries. This by far I think is the most overlooked thing. I absolutely love this feature. You can constantly keep the camera running. Like most cameras, you have to pop out a battery or turn off the camera, pop out the battery, swap in a new one, power the camera back on. With the red Komodo, with the hot swappable battery feature, you never have to turn off the camera if you have a constant flow of batteries. The camera can run on one battery, and so while you pop off the dead one, you put on a new one, it's still running on the one, you have the new battery. Once that other one gets low, you pop that one off, the camera's still on, you put on a new battery. So amazing feature, love it. Number 2, global shutter. Like all the cameras in this size and like price range, they do not have global shutters. They have the weird jelloing, and I just find that this camera is just, the global shutter is just a beautiful thing, and to having a camera of this size and portability and accessibility to people, the global shutter is huge. And again, you don't get those weird, like when you're whipping around left, right, walking with it, etc., you don't have all the jello and movement in the lines in the image, and the global shutter is absolutely phenomenal and looks great, and it's huge, especially for bigger end productions and filmmaking. I couldn't imagine using this camera and it not having a global shutter, being on a music video and doing some intense car chase scenes or action, or turning the camera and whipping to the talent and going handheld. When you use handheld with a lot of these smaller like DSLR mirrorless cameras, and you just get that ugly warp and jello, just not a good look. So that is another huge thing, is the global shutter. 3, red raw, absolutely phenomenal. Their codec is just beyond, probably the best codec out there. It just works so seamlessly with Adobe Premiere, never had issues. And the fact that you can change all that red raw metadata, you can change the ISO and it's like you shot it that way. You can change the color temperature and it's like you shot it that way. The red raw metadata is just absolutely phenomenal, and I've never seen any other camera like live up to that and have that type of information and just changeability in post. Like, it's just massive. I know I shot recently with my friends Blackmagic, and they have the Blackmagic RAW, and it's just not the same. There's not as many controls, not as many functions, and it's still, regardless, like the image still was slightly degrading even after I changed that information. And it was cool, at least they had some functionality to the raw metadata, but it's nothing like Red's workflow and raw workflow. So the codec, Red Raw, absolutely phenomenal. 4, size and form factor. This thing is tiny. I can put it anywhere, I can fit it anywhere. I'm so excited to use this for like car mount stuff. Once we start doing some music videos and bigger end productions with it, I can fit this thing into a tiny little camera bag, and I just love the portability and ease of it. When there's jobs that I just don't want to take my big red rig on, I can pop this thing on, or YouTube videos like this. It's just phenomenal for its size and form factor. 5, you can push the image more without seeing less degrading. Like when I push the red raw or push the red image in post with color and just levels, there's a lot, it takes a lot more before I start to see the image really degrade and lower in quality, if you will, and anything else, whether it's like the Blackmagic or Canon. I could take the same effects that I've applied to the red footage, apply it to the Blackmagic, and you just notice a significant just decrease in the image quality, because it's a lot easier to break down those images than it is the red image. Number 6, matching of the color sciences to my bigger red. So the fact that I have the big red helium and I can pop this guy on as a B camera, and it's the exact same, color science, the image is the same, it just works seamlessly and beautiful. And so the fact that I can, have this little guy work as a B camera or C camera on set, and I don't have to worry about like trying to match the images, trying to make the Canon image look like a red image. And so I just love the fact that the image, if you were to put them side by side, if I were to put them side by side right now, you would not be able to tell the difference between Helium and Komodo. Number 7 is you can shoot internal ProRes. I love this. So to get more out of the memory card, I can switch over to 4K ProRes, shoot ProRes, get way more out of the card. ProRes is the best, codec out there as far as like compression wise. And so inside of, here inside of Adobe, it works so seamlessly. and I can just, you know, input the ProRes codec and I just edit seamlessly. And when it records in ProRes, it also records in like a very flat log picture profile. So it leaves you a lot of room for color correction and color grading. And so that's what I actually really love, is that, you know, if I don't want to shoot red RAW and I want to get more out of the card and image and I don't need to shoot RAW, I can just switch it over to 4K ProRes, shoot ProRes, comes out very flat, great for color grading. So that's another cool feature that this camera has. Number 8, the buttons and menu system. It's so clean, it's so minimal, right on top with the screen, the buttons, it's easy to navigate. You can either use the buttons to navigate or it's touchscreen and you can use the touchscreen to navigate. It's very clean, minimal, simple, easy to navigate, and it's not like a lot of those, you know, clunkier DSLR mirrorless systems where there's all these different rows and menus, and it's a little harder to navigate. And so they make it really easy. And again, with the touchscreen or using the buttons, you can go either or. So that's another thing I love. 9, the availability to use your phone as a monitor. Because of the built-in like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, I can have my phone or have a client have my phone or a friend have my phone, and I can run the camera settings from my phone, change and dial in all the camera settings from my phone, and use it as a monitor to view. So I could hand that to someone else, I could view it myself, I could have someone running the camera, be watching the image and what they're capturing, but then dial in the settings, you know, not touching the camera. So that's pretty phenomenal. And there's just so many things about this camera that are like that are so useful that I don't even know if people are really realize. Like, that is so amazing, because as a director, right, I shouldn't be sitting there operating the camera. At times, yes, but if Tom is shooting with this camera or the DP is shooting with this camera, and then I notice, oh, we need to bump it down a little bit, let's drop the ISO, I can right from that monitor drop the ISO while still watching the image of what we're shooting and adjust what needs to be adjusted. So pretty phenomenal. I love that feature as well. And lastly, the autofocus. Ever since the new RF update, it is an RF mount. I have an RF glass and lens. The autofocus is very cool, a very cool function. I don't know how much I would personally use it, just because I love to go manual and make sure to dial it in and run, you know, a wireless follow focus system. But for simple interview setups or shots where you're just, talking heads, or even, I haven't really tried it in motion yet, but the just messing with it, touching the screen on the autofocus of where it should focus, how cool and seamless that is. And this is the first time Red has worked autofocus into one of their cameras. And so it's just new, fun. It works well. It's just been a fun tool, and I can see where it could be very useful and beneficial on a lot of different productions. So it's just amazing that they figured out a way to work that into this camera body, because the bigger ones do not have autofocus. So I do love about this camera, that they worked in autofocus. So those are my top 10 pros, favorite things I love about the Red camera. I love it. It's my, like I said, I think I said it in a tweet, this is my favorite piece of gear in the last 3 years. Love the camera, and I can't wait to just continue to use it more. I haven't used it on a big project yet, and I can't wait to do that. And yeah, I'm just a Red fanboy, and especially of this new camera. So hopefully this gave you guys a little insight into the camera, what I love about it, and maybe you discovered something about it you didn't even realize before, or really thought about, like, oh wow, that is a really good feature or function. So appreciate you guys for watching this video. Drop a like, comment if you have questions about anything that I said. Comments below. I'm Jacob Owens for the Buff Nerds, and I'm out. Peace.